Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
This is a learning worklet. These are all the kind of under learning worklets, some kind of menu items I can say, which are accessible for all the employees. On their learning area, if they wanted to view their learning history, they can get into learning history and view their completions. And if they wanted to view any kind of courses, they can, get into browse learning area and they can find a list of courses here. And similarly, if for any of the courses that they have started, which are in progress, which are in not started status, and they wanted to generate a transcript for that one, they have all these are not delivered setups. How we know Workday has given a kind of transcript, kind of setup. They can view all those things and all. They can get a here, they can export that, they can generate a PDF of the transcript or all. That is how we know the kind of learning worklet is designed for all the employees, which can be accessible for all the learners with all the learning content. Now to enable this one, what I've done is I just from the scratch show their a certain business process. You know that Workday is provided for learning area. They mainly use to ne Samason Rollison thing you know which will be used for rolling and drop learning. And element which will you know based on the same setup that you will be making area you will be giving a kind of flexibility for an employee to drop the enrollment you know if they wanted to enroll from the course. So all these things in a core will be seeing as part of core configurations. So what kind of setup that needs to be made for this drop learning enrollment? What kind of reasons that need to give for giving a kind of flexibility for an employee while dropping from the enrollment? What are the reasons that employee can choose to drop from the enrollment? All those things you know will be seeing in configurations that now will focus on business process. What are the available business process show you control how you actually give flexibility for employees or for business users to perform certain tasks in Workday learning. Based on business process security policy, you will be giving that kind of no access to employees. So I side right domain is nothing but which will allow you to see and access the data in Workday but business process as security policy which will allow you to perform the transaction and we were to prove and it resign that the 5 manager to prove your team members enrollment need to do to you knows and back the tone. All this kind of transactions you will be able to perform through business process security policy system. Now, if someone asks you can differentiate between BIP with security policy and domain security policy. What would be a straightforward answer? Security policy is only a little bit confusing form. So let me begin. You know they're from Ethazone. So I have but two security policies. One is B security policy and the other one is domain security policy. Domain security policy we have seen so far. So I have accessed multiple domains and assigned security T groups that for example learning access domain may have access and given permissions to employees, contingent workers, implementers and learning. So I have given learning access to all these security groups. Now people are associated with the security group can access, can view something related to learning, can view learning workload can. Earlier now I have seen off that learning workload was not populating on a dashboard screen right on home dashboard. Were notable to see that learning workload because I had domain permissions were not notable telling administrators or implementers or employees anything. They were notable to see that learning workload. So I went into that particular domain given that access to intended team, intended security groups, and then when we activated policies, we are able to see that learning workload populated on landing page. Similarly, B security policy. B security policy if I are actually creating Workday account. So if I were creating a Workday account, who has to create that Workday account? So if I are an employee, you shouldn't have access to create Workday account. Security administrator should have access to create Workday account. Or such kind of things you know will. For example, I'll just create Workday account. So these are kind of one business process. So this is just an example I'm giving which can relate to learning business process. Create Workday according to nothing but creating Workday account. Who has to create Workday account? You will be defining that permission shrim, ME5 order P place in creative A policy B policy. हमको can start the business process. Who can create the business process? Who can start to initiate the transaction? So you'll be giving all the security question the cell implementers can create a security group. You can see some meaning. Some dummy security groups also you'll be seeing because this is a training content between regular content you'll be seeing actual security group share. Security partner security admin will be having access to create Workday account. So such way you can define any security for the security type policy of that particular business process transaction into the policy. No. So people are associated with the security A group should be able to create Workday account. And then similarly, if we rate any condition, if we rate any condition that on Workday account is created, it has to go for manage it for approval. Such kind of condition, you will have a written also has to approve at the tone. So the security goes whatever listed can have access to approve with that particular transaction. So how did you go to this page? So just access that particular pan related actions of go to the related actions of particular BP. Policy. B policy. So you can see alt of transaction business process transaction. Who has to cancel that? There is no any kind of action that employer know whichever security that it will be confident or will be having permissions to cancel that particular transaction. So you can give it as a security group share. And there is going needs to send back the money transaction. So you will give the list of security groups and similarly we are assigning and all those things. You know the type of security that you know based on the security setup that you will be making when the transaction is initiated based on the security group that you have assigned here. It will be going in that flow actually. Based on the steps that you would have defined in the business process based on the approval chain that you will have defined in the business process, the list of security groups will be populated in the proof wait list and who can action or who can cancel the transaction, who can resign transaction or who can approve effort on. So this is one of the example that we taken. You know since create Workday account is something which will be more easily understandable kind of task that it took. And similarly, when you relate this to Workday learning kind of business process if I see mass enroll. So what steps are there on SIM enrollment is initiated? Action enroll in content related process something the action that has to be taken. Bottom no approvals or no additional steps are confident. But if I got out the security of this, so here you can control here who has to enroll you into this thing, who has to perform this kind of mass enrollment. So there are no currently there are no security bit. I'll see how I can manage this thing. So has to perform this mass enrollment. Basically, learning administrator will be having access to performance enrollment of employees to this thing. And who has to approve this thing? Managers will obviously have access to approve and even in certain cases, seven learning administrator will be having control to approve any of the task related learning enrollments. So if I wanted to send back your file, if I wanted to cancel the C things, you can actually I'll be having permissions to cancel this one. Learning admin. Then this here the things that you are saying based on your customer or security requirement or business requirement. You will be setting up the security at app level. So now we have given you access to learning administrator to actually perform a enrollment kind of task who can enroll. Basically managers also will be having access. So I have actually assigned a learning administrator who will be actually having permit to roll any on entire particular nodes. Once we make any security changes at level, we need to activate that security policy. So if you find it challenging to know what tasks to enter or what should be entered in the search box. So that is what I felt the challenge because there is no menu items which you can select from, right? So you soon things you need to know the task or you need to know what you need to do. So that is here the two things you know that you need to know. So if I are not aware of the task, what you need to perform, set map something you know that is going to help you adjust it into any of an production environment and as your security administrator, you know, give access to the asset maps of that you can download that you all the list of items of tasks you learn in you make in the and you find run and you feel and dependent, probably you can actually as pre-accessed eat and pardon production. Until you get familiar with the task you know the late editions you and you talk the word day learning, so probably you would just it's just If you wanted to create an example, I'm saying if you wanted to create if you're a Workday developer or no, if I wanted to report just enter the task lead create report. If you wanted to create integration is the task. If I wanted to delete a report is the task. If I wanted to create a calculated field, create a loan incident. So like that it's. You know basic things, you know whatever you wanted to do, just enter in search bar those related items that will be populated in your landing page. Let's say if you wanted to know in learning, if you wanted to create course example, I want to edit a location of a person, for example, you cannot edit the location of the person. You can edit a location. But if you wanted to edit a location of a person, you wanted to go into the employee you wanted to edit. You can edit employee contact information, and there you can change the location of the deployee directly. If you wanted to edit the location, your view location is one thing. You can access the task called view location. Enter the location will be edited. Let's say India, but let's say Hyderabad, they know would be one location. If you wanted to, just correct the spelling of Hyderabad, you can just view location Hyderabad, just correct that. But if you wanted to correct the location of Amit, you need to go to Amit's profile, Amit's contact information. Anytime it's contact information, there you can change whatever contact information of Amit that you wanted to update. Correct. Now, I understood BP security policy and domain security policy. That is the place where we define as to who all should get access to what. Yes. Who can control what? Who can access what? Who can see what? Who can see what? My security policy says who can see what, who can view what, and who can modify what. That also, will be giving access to modify also to certain areas of Workday for employees or for any kind of for developers or any kind of support people will be giving some kind of permissions to modify. Let's say if support person of a end user support person is there, he need to access all the requests that is getting from an employee. As an example, what you asked, if employee is having a kind of address change kind of requirement, he'll be reaching out to that support person. That support person will need to have a specific permissions to perform that task. What will be giving user level permissions and modify access to that particular support person. Whatever employee will be reaching out, to edit the profile information, and on that support person will be taking care. And similarly, BP, if any employee is any employee or any kind of business process transaction that any person is performing in Workday, be in the background. Whatever security that you would have defined, that particular BP that will be controlling or allowing any person, who is doing that business process transaction to proceed further based on the conditions, I think we'll be doing some tasks. Also, we'll be doing the while we are creating courses. Probably we'll create one course with cost associated course and we'll define one business process rule that if course is cost associated, it has to go for a kind of manager approval, and we'll define that kind of setup. I mean a kind of configuration thing. You'll see how that process will work when we do that configuration perfect. That probably will be doing. I think today we'll be closing all high level description of components including the business process, and probably not tomorrow. From tomorrow we'll be starting the core configurations like dropping enrollment and learning validation things and business process tasks, all those things actual configuration part which are typically used in Workday learning. We'll be starting the configurations in our next session today. With this till today's session, what you will be getting a kind of brief understanding is how you can control domains, how we can control the business process. If there is any kind of controlling enhancement that you'll be getting, to perform in any of the Workday learning BPU, how to identify those BP, how to enhance that one, and how you can add any kind of additional steps to that particular business process. To today's session, you will be getting kind of high level understanding on the component areas. But from our next session, configuration areas, we'll be focusing after the configurations, we'll be getting into reporting. After reporting, we'll be seeing a kind of performing kind of a B task to upload or dump data into Workday kind of things, we'll be seeing with that. I think we should be covering everything in terms of learning. I also need to understand like calculated fields, what all we can do, how we can do. Calculated field is not part of learning. That is part of the technical area where in reporting, it comes calculated fields are, people who are associated with the reporting administrator or a developer developed background will be. Those people will be performing, the report creations and integration creations. Alfil creations. Those are a little technical. I can say your role is related to learning or your role is related to any kind of technical thing. It's mixture of both. I am in the DevOps team. What kind of responsible is that you'll be having? Is it related, restricted to learning, or across work day that you will be? What kind of that now? I am only part of learning. I'll be making sure that if there is any new feature comes in what all improvements can be done. And now we have to do the proof of concept. All the features and what all new things we can bring in those things, testing, create custom reports. Custom reports you'll be creating. Yes, what can I have a chance to create? Any report Far or what? I have a religious language, editing anything, anything. Couple of custom reports and a little learning, yes, specifically learning. It would be helpful to have some understanding of conflict also. Basically, the people who are managing reports, who will be creating integrations for doing some kind of programming work, will be focusing on calculus because of calc fields will reduce the efforts of writing a program. And if you wanted to tweak any data that is sitting in Workday, calc fields, will allow you to tweak the data if you wanted to. Let's say Amit is there. When Amit is there, you wanted to populate the Workday trainer kind of term, you know that you wanted to populate. If employee is Amit, then you know it has to return in a report. That worked as ME kind of word. You know that has to return in a report. You'll define a logic in calculated field. You know the kind of you'll be defining that logic and you'll be tweaking that data because of Amit is sitting in Workday based on the Workday data. That you're defining some logic here to populate some of the data when that condition is true kind of setup. You'll be making in calculated fields. For example, we have to create a notification. Those kind of things I would like to have. Those are not calculated field. Those are separate tasks. If you wanted to create any notification, you need to get into PP. If you wanted to create alert, what alert that you wanted to create? Who are the intended users? Creating alert, we need a note. We need a report to be created first. Yes, who are all the intended users? You wanted to send the alert if you wanted to send to new hires, if you wanted to send a specific group of employees, if you wanted to, send to only managers, such kind of information that you need to have that kind of, result that you to get as part of the report creation. And then in a configure alert that will be sending a kind of alert notification to those recipients. You probably alert also. I'll take it general alert is not part of this thing. That's a kind of regular thing, but probably when we are going in configuration, just remind me this thing. I will show you how. I just create one simple report and we'll see how we can attach that report to alert, and probably will configure your Gmail thing to the alert. We'll see how that will be triggered to the Gmail account. Now, for example, if I want to change the output of a report, can we do it? Meaning now browse learning catalog is there. Know your learning course. I'll contest. I want now those are standard reports. You don't have control. You know to change the output. What you need to do is you need to copy that report to custom reports. Then you can enhance whatever you wanted to have. If you go to the last call, copy. Let's go to custom report. I took standard report now. I'm copying this thing. This is basically kind of search report. It will be listing all that you entered. Now, if you wanted to enhance, add a filter topic level. If you wanted to do is any kind of searching of the courses, you can go here and add a chain your output of the report. Basically, there are no topics created. Still, that way you can change your output of your report, not only this report. Any of the report you can add, or you can insert report will be having some facelift options, and all you can change how your data will be. Pop. We cannot directly update any standard report, but you can. You need to copy that. Standard report, custom report, and make changes, and accordingly place this custom report and replace this custom report with standard one, that your changes will become effective. Whatever you are expecting as a kind of output, got it I? If I want to change the blue output format of the report, then can we do it when you say format? What is that? Generally. Now I know this is loading the content, is there not? It is. It shows you one course below the other course when you have a browse learning. Instead of that, can we have one next to each other in a tile base? No, in Work Trainer we have types of reports. Browse learning content is a kind of search report. If you go for search report creation, whatever configurations, you know that you have them in search bar. Whatever search criteria that you enter and click on search button, all those search results will be populated. And if you wanted to filter those results, left side, you'll be having some kind of check boxes or not, those kind of check boxes populating. Of those check boxes, you'll have a control to filter the data. Let's say, in the search bar you have entered one course name and hundreds of courses have populated. Now, if you go to the left side and if you click on any check box specific to compliance courses kind of check box, you would have selected. When you select that compliance courses, all the courses related to compliance group will be filtered and those results will be populated. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.